Let me ask you this, Vergil. Speaking of Danny Garcia, obviously he has a big fight coming up with Errol Spence Jr. You know, it'll be almost over a year since Errol's fought. This is going to be the first time he's fought since his accident. It's supposedly being labeled for a pay-per-view on Fox in November. Break down that fight for us, Vergil. How do you see that fight playing out?
Honestly, I have no idea, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't know how healthy Errol is. Errol can be healthy, but I don't know how damaged he was fracture-wise. You know, he might have had fractures. You still have to let your body heal, which I'm sure he has. But your body doesn't heal that fast like that, like internally, like inside your bones. And I've heard that he had to get fake teeth and all that, prosthetics or whatever. I mean, how's your teeth gonna hold up? How's your jaw, you know, the bones in your jaw gonna hold your teeth when, you know, with that mouth guard after it gets hit so hard? Because I mean, you're gonna eventually get caught, no matter what. It might not hurt you, but it's gonna hurt your body, and your body just responds how it responds. It's just, you can't help it, you know. So that's one of the ones where I really don't know. I wouldn't even be able to predict if Errol was healthy. I'd pick Errol because I know Errol. Like I said, I know him. As much as sometimes I think he's a dick, I can still respect him and tell him that I think he's a good fighter and he fights good. And I mean, I still like the guy. He can be a dick, but I still like him.
I think everybody's rooting for that to happen, man. The big showdown. Everybody knows. Everybody's talking about, you know, Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Errol Spence Jr. Undefeated versus undefeated. Two Dallas kids, one from Grand Prairie, one from Dallas, DeSoto area at Cowboy Stadium. Hopefully, man, that fight will happen in the future. It's looking more realistically if it does happen, and it'll more than likely happen at 154. I think you've even mentioned that yourself. My last question to you, though, Vergil, is Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko, man. Everybody, you know, there's been big buzz in the boxing world. Teofimo accepting the offer. You know, you had him doing a little shakedown of the purse of Lomachenko. How do you see that fight breaking out? I mean, it's going to be on ESPN in October. Break that fight down for us.
I think, well, first of all, I'll tell you like this, and again, I'm not shit talking. I'm just saying how I feel. The way I see it is, Teofimo is pretty much paying himself to lose. Because if he was so confident to beat that guy like the way he said, and he kept this and that, then he would have fought him. Lomachenko didn't have to give his money up. He don't have to. If you don't give his money up, then what? You don't do the fight? You're not going to be there at 135 very long. You can tell by his body. I just think that they're like, well, if I'm going to take this risk and get beat, I better get paid for it. And of course, Lomachenko was like, well, I mean, if I'm going to get this out of my hair, I might as well pay for it. You know, sometimes you pay people to get out the way. So that means if they owe you money, you don't take the money. Just don't ever talk to them again. It's the same thing. So I think that I think Loma is going to school him. I think Teofimo has a puncher's chance to him. If Teofimo hurts him, Teofimo will finish him. But if he doesn't hurt him, I think Lomachenko is going to, you'll start seeing it in the 4th and 5th. He's going to start opening up a bunch of class.
Yeah, I know one time I spoke with you about 4 or 5 years ago, Vergil, and I remember you mentioned that you always spoke highly of Lomachenko, but you also mentioned to me that everybody has a code that can be cracked.
Yep.
And with Teofimo Lopez, what do you feel that he has to do in order to become victorious?
I don't think he has the tools to crack his code. I just think he has the power to catch him and get him hurt. And if he catches him and hurts him, like I said, he'll finish him. I think he'll finish him. But if he doesn't, I don't think he has Lomachenko's IQ to break him. You can have a high Viking IQ, but you still have to have that guy's IQ about the same or above to break him. You have to. It ain't like, you know, you can be smart, but the guy that's smarter than you is going to outsmart you all day. You know, he's going to be smarter than you. So I think that's what it is. I think that he has to catch him. He has to figure out how to catch him, where to catch him. The guy's southpaw. The guy moves a lot. I think he's going to try to catch him with the right hand, and I think he's going to be pulling. He's going to be hitting and pulling, and I think Loma's going to be, you know, doing like he does, looking forward, hitting him on the stomach, the side. I think that might be where he gets caught, is where doing his little. I think that's where he might. But again, Lomachenko's Lomachenko, but he's a small Lomachenko.
Yeah, and that was my next thing, because like you said, man, whenever it comes to a mega, like a big fight like this, a mega showdown, there's a lot of different variables that take place. Now you have youth, but then you have experience. You got youth with Teofimo, the power with Teofimo, the hunger with Teofimo, and you got Lomachenko, who's been, you know, champion now. What he became champion at his third fight. Yeah, his third fight. And I mean, this guy's only has 15 professional fights, but he has years and hundreds of matches in the amateurs, man. But some could argue that he's a little bit, you know, faded, man. And he's technically not a 135 pounder. He needs to move down to 130. Do you see that playing a toll on his body come fight night, especially if they've been inactive?
No, I don't think so, because I think he's active no matter what. Body-wise, I think he's active no matter what. A lot of people say, well, he's had 400-something amateur fights or 300-something. That takes a toll on his body. But they're not long amateur fights. They're short amateur fights.
That's right.
They're wearing gear, headgear. They're wearing bigger gloves. He's not fighting these killers out there like he's in the Olympics. And think about it. If anything does damage to you, he's hitting the bag. He's probably done more damage to his body hitting the bag than fighting in the amateurs, because a lot of those amateur fights, he didn't get hit a lot of those. He's smooth enough to not to get hit a lot, and so if anything, you know, he did more damage fights to his joints hitting the bag than he did in a fight. You know, in an amateur fight. So I don't think that's what it is. He takes good care of himself. He uses his brain a lot, like workout wise too. His body, I think right now he's still at his peak. I think he's, you know, you hit the hill up here. I think he's about right here still. He still has, and that alone is a lot for a lot of people. It's high. That guy's smart, man. He's good.
Let me ask you this, brother. Leo Santa Cruz, Tank Davis. Break down that fight. You got Tank Davis that's being trained apparently with Mayweather Jr. I think Mayweather's kind of, you know, mentoring him and keeping him under his tutelage, under his watchful eye. You know, it's no story. A lot of people, you know, they discredit Tank Davis, man, and you know, a lot of them think that Leo Santa Cruz may actually win this fight. But how do you see that fight breaking down?
I think Tank is gonna win. I think not that I don't want Leo Cruz to win. Leo Cruz is a good guy. He's from Michoacan. Where's my family already from. But I mean, I'm not gonna bet money on somebody who, you know, just because they're my friend.
That's right.
Smart people bet with their head, not with their heart. If I was to bet, I'd bet Tank, because Tank's a lot bigger than him. He's a lot stronger than him. Tank can fight. Leo Santa Cruz can fight. But Tank is bigger than him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's stronger than him. And that's all it takes. That's all, that right there alone. They're even on the, you know, maybe Leo Santa Cruz throws a bunch of punches. But Tank also is a southpaw. Tank's been sparring right-handers his whole life. How many right-handers spar southpaws their whole life? It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
So that's just the way I see it. I think Tank got the bigger advantages and the most obvious ones. And I just think he's gonna win. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Do you think that him having Mayweather in his corner helps him?
No, I think Tank can just flat out fight. I think it don't matter who trains him. You can teach him how to do all these moves, and he's just gonna go in there and fight. Some people just fight. Some people can box, but they can't fight. Some people can fight, but they can't box. He just flat out fights. He can fight. That's just the difference.
Keith Thurman recently called out Bud Crawford, man. I know these guys, like you said, are in your son's weight division. Do you think Keith Thurman is done as far as at 147, or do you think he really wants to fight Terrence Crawford, considering that Crawford is looking at potentially fighting Kell Brook next?
I don't know if Keith Thurman is done. I wouldn't say he's done, but I think he's also has exhausted his options. I don't think he's done. I just think like a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense for him. Like to fight this guy, to fight this guy. Again, that's why I say these guys aren't scared of each other. It's just a lot of it is sense-wise. Who could he fight? But I don't think he's done. I think he has a lot more than the Tank than most people do. And even if he did have a little bit, that's still more than what most people can handle.
That's right.
So I mean, he's still a very good fighter. I just think that to create now for it to be meaningful, more of a buzz, now he has to kind of actually be forced to go across the street, which is Bud Crawford. But he probably feels he has an advantage because he's bigger than Bud. But again, Bud's a switch hitter. He's smart. He uses the whole ring. He don't care to win by decision or by knockout. He don't care if you boom him or not, as long as they pay him. Those guys are dangerous because they don't care.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, I mean, I don't think he's done. I just think he's exhausted a lot of his options. He don't have many options.
Well, listen, Vergil, we appreciate your time, man. We know, again, it's hot as hell out here. You're out here showing support, showing love for your son and his fans. Is there any last shout outs you want to give to any of you guys as sponsors, friends, family, or fans that are watching?
To my friend Johnny, who owns your taco here in Grand Prairie. To Kenneth Smith, who owns DFW Inc., who does all my shirts. Robert Garcia, you know, for helping, we're on the team. Pita, Hector Beltran, and Yuli, and Gene Vivero. Those are all the guys that helped me with Vergil. My son, of course, because Vergil, you know, without him being self-motivated and wanting to win, you know, there's only so much you can do with somebody. And then just all the fans, everybody that believes my son, that pull for him. And if you don't pull for them, then that's for you too. Shout out for you too. Maybe one day you will.
All right, man. Well, listen, man, we appreciate your time. Where can they follow you at, Vergil?
They can follow me on Facebook at just Vergil Ortiz. And on Instagram and Twitter, it's Vergil Ortiz Sr.
It's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, signing off.